Yo, welcome back to SeaBed. Last time, we saw the tip with Lily, who's been traveling the world because her friend forgot about her. Still not sure exactly who that friend is. But yeah, we saw that. That was in the tips. In the main story, Narasaki slash Sachiko just came back to the mansion. And then there was an awkward conversation with Nanae, and then Sachiko talked with Narasaki in front of the incinerator. I think that was everything. Yeah. I did spend 20 minutes at the end of last time going back in previous chapters trying to see how Narasaki interacted with other people with what we know now, but I don't think I found too much interesting there. What do we want to go with? Let's go with the classic low quality sea background. As I rolled around in bed, the sheets slid down my shoulder. I opened my eyes and sat up. The decorative plant with heart-shaped leaves and the sheep figurine sparkled in the morning sun, making me narrow my eyes. I placed a palm on my empty stomach. I felt like it could start rumbling at any second now. Did I have anything for dinner? Before I knew it, the world beyond the window had turned snow white. Some frost had formed in the window glass and were sparkling in the sun. I gazed at it for a few minutes, then climbed out of bed. Get your lazy ass back to work, man. A sweet aroma of coffee filled the cafeteria when I stepped inside. I spotted Nana sleeping at her seat by the window. With her... Wait, did I take the wrong save? I feel like I've already read this. Yeah, this is the wrong save. Sorry. I'm here. Okay. I woke up at the same time as usual. I would usually wake up at the same time regardless of my schedule. I would not run late for work, but that also meant that even if I stayed late on the weekend, I would still end up waking up early the next day. This skill earned me a supplementary prize for attendance in high school, but sometimes it felt more like a curse. It hadn't been working quite as well lately, probably due to how severely exhausted I was, but this morning everything suddenly went back to normal, and I was already up and about at 7 a.m. It had been a while since my last dream, too. I couldn't remember when I went to sleep yesterday, so I decided to read the book I left by the bed to kill some time. But I wasn't feeling sleepy, even after 30 minutes of reading. I must have slept well last night, so I pulled myself together and got out of bed. Oh, hello. I passed by the flower beds in the inner yard and circled around the building to see Kozue standing among the bamboo trees by the stone fence. She kept looking about the ground and a piece of paper in her hand. Oh, it's the well. What are you doing? I came closer to her and she showed me the black and white picture she held. It depicted the stone well. I was looking for an old well. There stood an ancient-looking moss-covered well in front of us. Didn't Lily say that the well was right by a window of the room that her friend disappeared in? I don't think it would be... I guess you can't see where the mansion is relative to this, but... I feel like this is too far away from the mansion. I peeked down into it, seeing only muddy water. Looks like you found it. Yeah. Do you know how old that picture is? It was taken 6 years ago. I found it in a pamphlet you can get at the station. The well looked a lot nicer in the picture. The stone it was made of had not cracked, with variety of vegetation growing all over it. The plants covering it seemed to be rotting away too. I didn't realize it deteriorated so fast when not used. Kozo returned the picture to the file and put it into her bag. Why were you looking for an abandoned well anyway? I thought I could find a ghost here. The area was surrounded by buildings in the woods, keeping it perpetually shaded. I could almost believe one would meet a ghost or two here at night. I heard the cry of a bird from the direction of the inner yard. Kozo turned to me. She gave me a hard look, narrowing her round eyes. I just wanted to see where it was after looking at the picture. Perhaps she attended that part about ghosts as a joke. I see. What are you doing here? I was looking for someone. I was the only one here all morning. I see. Thanks. I thanked her and shifted my gaze to the wall. It was covered with planks, but one seemed to have gone missing, revealing the wall's interior through the gap. Kosa and I both peered into the darkness of the wall. I tried looking for the penguin toy we talked about the other day, but couldn't find it in the end, said Kozue, her eyes not leaving the wall. The penguin toy we talked about the other day. I do not remember that. Is that the thing that Kozue couldn't find in the other reality? In the sanatorium? Like the thing she couldn't find after she moved room? Was that the penguin toy? All I found was this. It was in a vase in our living room. She pulled something out of her pocket and held out her hand in front of me. When I opened my palm, she placed a small figurine of a black penguin on it. I kept wondering when the two of us ever discussed penguins. Okay, is that something she talked about with Narasaki? I used to hide important things in that vase when I was little. I also found a watch Grandpa gave me, some beads, and a toy ring inside it. Seeing all those nostalgic things brought back memories. When the penguin toy ran out of batteries, I took the black one out from the ice slide and played with it alone for a while. I thought it was cursed to only ever climb up the mountain and slide back down it again, but it ended up joining the games of the other toys in my room. This time I handed it up in that vase. Do you think that things ultimately turned out well for him? Okay, sorry, what? Okay, so you took the toy out. Okay, it's like a battery powered toy. Oh yeah, I do vaguely remember you talking about this actually. It was in one of the library scenes, right, with Narasaki. Okay, but you took the penguin toy out and you put it up with the other toy. Okay. Perhaps. The penguin lay on its belly in my palm, its eyes gazing upward. It didn't appear unhappy, at least. You can have it, said Kozue. Isn't it important for you, though? Oh, don't sweat it. I'm too old to be playing with things like that anyway. And you'll be leaving soon, right? It can be something to remind you of this trip. Of course, you can throw it away if you don't want it. I couldn't help feeling surprised. Her giving me a present like that probably meant she didn't want me to forget her. I was under the impression she wasn't all that interested in other people and preferred to stay away from this kind of relationships. But perhaps I was wrong. Thank you, I'll make sure to take good care of it. Kozue pulled her left sleeve up and looked at the watch on her exposed wrist while I slid the penguin into the pocket of my jacket. I'm meeting Lily's architect friend today. After spending so much time researching this mansion, I guess I ended up being interested in the person who actually built it. But that's a good idea. They might not be all that welcoming of the idea though. I wouldn't be so sure of that. It's actually pretty refreshing to have someone younger be interested in your work. Yeah, I feel they would be into it. I hope that's true. Kozue stole another glance at the well, then turned towards the path she had come from. I'll be on my way now. Where's Lily waiting for you? In front of the mansion. We can go together then. There was no path in the woods beyond the well, so I joined Kozue and turned back towards the way I'd come from. We parted ways as we reached the mansion. Okay, the snow has disappeared? Am I crazy? The last time we saw the tree, which is right here, I think, like the tree to the right, and everything was covered in snow when we saw it, like last time. Why is there no snow anywhere now? I circled around the mansion, emerging at its front entrance. Upon reaching the parking lot, I spotted an old Japanese bike in the shade of the trees. Oh yeah, you're right. Usually it's the car that's here. There's not a single car in sight though. Are you looking for something? As I began looking around, Nani suddenly appeared from beyond the open front door. I'm looking for Narasaki. Who? Who? You haven't seen her? You're the first person I've met today. I see. I heard the grandfather clock in the lobby strike the hour. If you're not in a hurry, how about we have lunch together? I looked up to the sky. There were no clouds, only some dry, warm sunlight. Okay. Nanae looked out the window as we enjoyed our post-meal coffee. There's not a single cloud in the sky today. Looks like a sunburn waiting to happen. I've heard the sun is more potent in the mountains. Is that true? Ultraviolet rays apparently get stronger here because the atmosphere is thinner, but don't worry, I come well prepared. Look! Nanae rolled up her sleeve and showed me her white forearm. I've got some homemade sunscreen. Homemade? Wanna try it? Thanks, but I've brought my own, so I'm okay. Is it not the winter? If you say so. I mean, the sun can still like be like pretty hot in the winter, but Nanae shifted her position, lowering her arms. I turned to the window to see her combing her front hair in the reflection. I wonder what the weather's going to be tomorrow. I was thinking of going hiking. That's nice. Should be clear weather tomorrow. Do you want to come? I do, but I'm not sure if I could make it. Nanae hid her hands behind her back and made a deeply sad face. She explained that she had to participate in a local inn-proprietor meeting tomorrow from the early morning. Is that what you were looking for, this Narasaki person? I nodded. Yes, she's an old friend. Can you tell me what she looks like? I'll tell her about your plans if I see her. Well, she's a tall woman with red hair. Her mannerism and speech might come off as a bit masculine, I guess. Okay, got it. If you see her, tell her I was looking for her. I'll do that. Are you sure you don't know her? She was staying here. We're closed right now. I thought I already told you. That's right, you did. The cafeteria door suddenly opened. I'm sorry, did I intrude? Lily stood in the entrance. Not really. Anna, could you come over for a spell? For a spell? I'm sorry, I've got to go. Okay. Just leave the plates here. Okay. Anna apologized to me and stood up. Sorry for interrupting you in the middle of a conversation. That's okay, but I thought we agreed you wouldn't call me Nana in front of people. We did? I could hear a bit of their conversation beyond the door. I finished my cold coffee and brought the cup to the kitchen along with Nana's. I stood there for a few moments when I suddenly heard a ringing sound. I walked toward its source. You gonna just pick up the phone? I left the cafeteria and continued to the lobby. The big, black, and somewhat antique-looking telephone on the counter was ringing. Okay. Cool. Oh, we're in the train? I looked out at the sea beyond the window. The rays of the setting sun painted the interior of the train car in orange. Clank, clank. The train car rocked back and forth as it traveled along the rails. I opened my eyes and looked around. A row of seats lined each wall of the car. An old woman and a girl, likely her grandchild, sat further away from me in the same long seat. The child was kneeling in the seat, looking out the window. The old woman looked at the same scenery from the corner of her eye. Her thin hand, resting on her knees, had a golden watch on its wrist. In front of me sat a middle-aged man in a suit, reading a black notebook. A little bit further away, a high school girl in her uniform had nodded off. That's good. I heard brief fragments of the conversation two clerks were having nearby. We've chosen the right woman. She's smart and works hard. The other man nodded. I'll admit, her being a beaut played a role when I chose her, but I was mostly attracted to her smarts. You mean, is that shortened from beauty? I still sometimes feel like a child around her. The other man nodded again. Well, the most important thing is that you're happy. The well-built clerk had his sleeves rolled up, emphasized the word happy. The tall, handsome man nodded. We can certainly agree on that point. There was an advertisement above them, showcasing a hot spring establishment. The words once-in-a-lifetime prices were floating above the steam-covered scenery of Beppu Bay. An electronic voice burst out from the speakers, announcing the next stop. Soon after, the train began to slow down with a metallic shrill. The door opened and a young woman in a white shirt stepped into the car. Her hair had been let down on one side, and she held a book with the words "How to Live" printed on it. She sat down in the seat diagonally from me and opened up the book to read. The middle-aged man in the suit left the car at the next station. After two more stops, I was the only one left in the car. The electronic voice announced that the next stop would be the last. I stood up and got out of the train car. You know, I noticed that last time I mentioned that the arrow is always green, but it's not. It's green when the next line is going to be like on the same page, and it's blue when it's indicating that the next line is going to change, like it's change page, I guess. So it's going to like erase the text that's already on the screen. So it's green and blue, which is kind of the colors of Takako and Sachiko, obviously. I stepped onto the stone platform. It smelled like dried leaves. Cool, humid sea breeze blew up the mountain slope. Okay, what is actually happening right now? Because Narasaki obviously is not real. So what am I looking at right now? I heard the rustling of the grass. The station was deserted, so I walked around for a bit. I managed to make out the name of the station from the rusted, ancient-looking iron plate, but whatever was written on the backrest of the faded plastic bench, which probably used to be blue, was completely illegible. There was no one in the wooden ticket gate either. I'm sorry, could I borrow a phone? I received no reply. The area behind the ticket window was completely empty. I passed the gate and walked to the ivory public telephone I spotted further away. Is this the station that Sachiko arrived at when she first arrived here? I could hear the long blades of grass rustling in the wind outside. I checked the clock on the wall, then picked up the receiver, stuck a coin into the coin slot, and turned the dial a few times. After a few beeps, someone picked up the phone on the other end. Moshi Moshi? Hello? Narasaki, where are you right now? I'm at the station. The station? What about your car? It's close by. I wanted to take a little detour. Sachiko's voice came a bit too loud from the receiver. I scratched my ear. I see. Coming by car was a bad idea after all. Driving through mountain roads can completely wreck your hips. When did you leave? You didn't say a word, so I was worried. I left early in the morning. I didn't want to needlessly wake you, which is why I'm calling right now. I wouldn't have minded. Being all ceremonious like that only makes it harder to say goodbye. If you say so. But just so you know, I spent the entire day looking for you. Oh, I'm sorry about that. But why? I didn't see you anywhere, so I got worried. It might sound weird, but I almost felt like you vanished into thin air or something. I let out a laugh, imagining her indignant face on the other end of the line. I asked Nana about you, and she said she never met you. I was worried that maybe there was something wrong happening with me again, and didn't pursue the conversation, but I mean, there is. You were staying at the mansion, right? Did you check in with Lily or something? That's right. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself. No? No, it's okay. You should ask her, I think. Oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to tell you. What? You might start forgetting things a lot for a while now. Is that related to my symptoms? Yeah. You could say it's a side effect of you getting better. It won't last for long though, so don't be worried. Just keep on doing what you always have, and you'll soon forget what's even bothering you. Sachiko made a pause, as though contemplating what I'd said. I waited for her to reply. Okay, I understand, she replied. When did you say you were coming back to Tokyo? In 2 days. I'll be leaving at noon. I switched the receiver to my other hand and leaned against the wall. The sound of rustling grass reached me from outside the station. I'll drop by your clinic when I get back. Also, we know she's lying here, because we did last time in the 20 minutes at the end where I went back to chapter 2 and chapter 4. We did see a scene where supposedly Narasaki was supposed to be talking with Nanae. It was outside. And obviously from Nanae's POV, she was just talking to Sachiko. So we know she's lying. I'll drop by your clinic when I get back. Your symptoms will have probably passed by then. Talking to you seems to help calm me down. Whenever you're free is fine by me. When do you think our next meeting could be? The next one, huh? There's something I want to look up when I get back, so it depends on that, I guess. Look something up? Sachiko contemplated what I could have meant. The phone let out a clicking sound, letting me know that one of my coins had just been swallowed. I'm running out of coins. Couldn't you get more somewhere around there? Unfortunately for me, I'm stuck at this ghost town of a station. Anyway, I doubt it's gonna take that long, so I'll call you back tomorrow. This same black phone? Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll call the same number I'm calling now. Let's see, you can wait for my call around 5 o'clock in the evening. You're gonna stay at the station all day? And all night? $5, same phone, gotcha. Good, but if I somehow end up not calling until it gets dark, that means something urgent came up, so you shouldn't waste too much time waiting. Okay, thank you for everything. Don't worry about it. We're old friends, aren't we? Yeah, see you around then. Bye. Her voice grew a bit more distant, and as I heard her put the receiver down, I did the same with mine. And with that, my last coin was swallowed up. Did Sachiko just imagine Narasaki going on the train, and did she imagine all those people on the train, and did she imagine Narasaki putting the coin in the telephone machine and calling her? That seems very like a very detailed imagination. There was a date at the top of the page I opened up the diary to. Before reading the entry, I flipped a few pages forward. The text ended after 2 pages. All I could see were the empty ruled lines, no matter how far I went. I returned to the page with the date. There were no other dates on the following 2 pages, which made just the final entry. We didn't unlock any tips, right? I don't think we did. November 3rd, 1975. Okay, so you're still in elementary school? We were playing in the park behind Takako's apartment when she found the carcass of a turtle. She said it was a turtle that used to be hers. She got it during one of the town fairs and kept it in a big styrofoam box. Okay, that's really bad, I think. I did recall there being a box like that on her balcony. Oh. Why did the text do that? Huh? It like changed fonts. That's weird. It stood slightly tilted to the side to create different areas, one with water and another with sound. Okay, never mind. I thought she just put it in the box and left it there, but she like took care of it. Okay. The area with water was covered in green moss, and I occasionally spotted a goldfish swimming there too. Apparently, the turtle used to live there as well, but kept escaping the box all the time. It always returned to it in the end. However, it had been 6 months since the last disappearance, and Takako seemed to have forgotten all about it until now. We dug a hole under the slide and buried the weathered carcass in it, using an ice cream stick as a grave marker. As we had no name to write on the stick, we simply went with Green Turtle. The discovery of the carcass left Takako heartbroken for a while, but she managed to cheer up eventually, and we played hide and seek together. Talk about nostalgic. Voicing the feelings I'd always felt when reading this thing, I continued to the last page. Only the two of us could have known what happened that day. As such, only Sachiko or someone Sachiko had entrusted with this information could have written this diary. Teko was very good at hide and seek, so I could never find her. And whenever I gave up and started talking about going home, she would always sneak up behind me for a quick scare. I'm leaving. I said that in the middle of the park in a loud voice, but nothing happened. Even after checking the tall grass where I expected her to be hiding, I couldn't see any trace of her. I glanced at the orange sky, genuinely considering just leaving, but decided to look for her a bit longer. I climbed all of the stairways of her apartment building. I checked all the booths in the public toilet of the park. I looked for her in the empty warehouse on the other side of the street. Most of the areas were locked, but I found a few doors that were open, so I had a peek. It was dark and smelled like dust inside. The entrance to the 7th warehouse container was open too. Tako was hiding in there. That was the same area where Takako fell when we were playing tag on the roof of the warehouse. You were playing tag on the roof of the warehouse? I had the landlord who worked at the nearby Okonomiyaki restaurant unlock the door and let Takako out. It wasn't used for anything, so we did get scolded, but otherwise got off relatively easy. Takako was crouching in the corner of the room, with the orange light falling from the hole in the ceiling, illuminating her vague silhouette. Found you, let's go home. Yet she still remained crouched. When I walked closer, I found her moaning and talking to herself. As I touched her shoulder, she let out a loud scream. The timbre of her voice was so odd, I initially couldn't even make out her words, but then realized she was asking me not to make a sound. I figured I'd ask her if she wanted me to call her parents, but changed my mind. I stooped down in front of her, careful not to make a sound. Takako was sitting on the ground, hugging her knees. Her eyes were narrowly open, but had been fixed on nothing. Her mouth trembled as she kept mumbling something. I reached out and covered her ears. I could feel her face flushing through my palms. As we sat like that for a while, her shaking began to gradually subside. She breathed heavily for a while, but that too eventually stopped. My hands were growing numb, but when I suddenly moved them, she abruptly spoke up. "Did you say something?" I asked her in a low voice. She didn't scream this time and seemed relatively calm. "You want me to call someone?" "Don't go anywhere. I can still hear it," she said in her normal voice. "The ringing? Can you stay until it passes?" "Sure," I answered. Takako also had the ringing in her ear when she was young? Yeah, this is a new song, I think. I finished the diary and lay down on the bed, facing the ceiling. That's right. I knew it. Maiko did the exact same thing Sachiko did when my ears started ringing. Maybe she was actually Sachiko. Maybe. That vague idea had been in the back of my mind for a while now. If she was the one who wrote that diary, then it made perfect sense that the parcel that came with it had no return address. But why would she do that? What was this happening? No matter how hard I thought about it, I couldn't come up with an answer. I felt like I'd been forgotten something important. Or perhaps it was just my memory devouring illness acting up again. A headache assaulted me when I tried to focus on that corner of my mind. I shook my head and absentmindedly looked around the room. I remembered what I saw in Kozue's room. That was definitely Sachiko in that dark, cave-lit-like place. I only saw her from behind, but I would recognize her anywhere. But she had long hair, while Maiko was relatively short. But haha, Takako. If you remember, Sachiko did make that comment about how she wanted to cut her hair. So, which meant there were two different people after all. Are you stupid? Takako, I'm gonna tell you something crazy about hair. It's gonna freak you out when you learn it. The more I thought about it, the more confused I got. I let out a sigh. I closed my eyes and tried remembering Sachiko's face in that darkness. I mean, I can help you with that. But the area around her eyes remained dark, so I couldn't visualize her well. At this point, I felt like it might have been an hallucination that my mind had created in response to my wish to see her again. I opened my eyes, picked up the notebook, and looked at the trace left by the pages having been torn out. It didn't particularly stand out, but it wasn't just insignificant either. I got curious about what it contained, even more so than before. Maybe they could have helped me discover who wrote the notebook. There are too many things at this sanatorium I couldn't understand. My illness, Sachiko, the phenomenon in that dark room. I hoped the notebook would provide some answers, but all it did was leave me with more questions. I gave up on thinking and shoved all these thoughts into a mental drawer. I began flipping through the notebook's pages again, looking at the dates. Some I had forgotten, while others were completely unfamiliar to me. But the moment I saw them, they'd reappear in my mind as a memory, as though that was where they were supposed to be all along. As I traced my fingers along the letters of the text, I felt an odd kind of warmth travel to my fingertips all the way to my head. It was a pleasant feeling, all in all. The warmth made my eyes shed hot tears. After I calmed down a bit and sat up, I felt pain in my shoulders. They must have gotten stiff after staying in the same position for too long. I climbed out of bed and stretched my limbs. Then I left the room and took a stroll around the sanatorium. The orange rays of the evening sun illuminated the corridor. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have mentioned before a theory that Sachiko is a Mayuko. I'm pretty sure I've said that multiple times. Because, I mean, just look at them. Even the eye color is kind of the same. And the eyebrows and everything. But, Is that really where we're going? I mean, this whole sanatorium isn't even real, right? So, I don't know. Good afternoon, Takako. I turned around to see Maiko behind me. What were you doing today? You haven't asked me to do anything, so I was reading the diary in my room. Maiko's eyes shifted to the notebook in my hand. I see. I feel like reading that thing is all you've been doing lately. I actually finished it just earlier. Maiko's gaze returned to me. I could feel the warmth of the orange-tinted sunlight on my skin. Did you find anything out? Maiko asked. It helped me remember a lot of things. I feel like I have a better understanding of what kind of person I am. If I was to liken my mind to my body, I felt as though a missing limb had just been reattached, letting me move more freely. On the other hand, the limbs that were still missing stood out all the more. And now I feel lonelier than before. In what way exactly? Showered by the light, Maiko made a faint smile. For example, you remember the look of the room you stayed at during the school trip, but not the lobby of the hotel, right? You tend to forget things that don't matter much. And even the fun memories are not necessarily replicated fully in your head. When you try to remember some of the details, you find that you simply can't. Well, that's the kind of loneliness I feel now. Maiko seemed like she had trouble following what I was going on about, but let out a thoughtful moan to indicate she was paying attention. Perhaps you can't understand that feeling until you become an adult. I'm more of an adult than you. Aren't you simply going through a sentimental episode? Maybe, but I still feel that this kind of feeling gets stronger as you grow older. I see. That's possible. Maiko's eyes wandered back to the notebook in my hands. I'd love to read that too. Would it be okay for me to borrow it? I held up the notebook. I looked at Maiko's face, then at the notebook, then back at Maiko. You can have it if you want, but aren't you normally busy with getting dinner ready around this time? That's right. In that case, I'll leave it on one of the shelves in the night duty room. Alright. Thank you. I nodded. See you later then. Maiko continued to the kitchen. In the end, I couldn't ask her about the diary. Maiko said she'd never seen it before, so if she really was the one who wrote it, there had to be a huge and very serious reason as to why she'd go through so much trouble to cover her tracks. I walked down the moonlit corridor, looking at the dim red glow of the emergency lights. I could hear the metal plates strike the wooden pole outside. Light escaped through the gaps at Sanae's door. I gave it a light knock and received a quiet response. Oh yes, Sanae! I forgot about you. Stepping inside, I saw Sanae reading a book in the table lamp's light. Who are you? Not going to sleep yet? I wasn't feeling sleepy, so I decided to read. What about you? Same here, except I was out taking a walk. As I sat down in the cane chair by her bed, I heard a weird, high-pitched sound from outside that reminded me of a flute. I've been hearing this a lot in my room lately. Do you think it's a bird? It's new. New? The Toho character? It's a small bird, also known as the scaly thrush. I made a gesture to show its rough size in my palm. Oh my god! Shut up with the fucking birds! They sound like a whistle, it's kinda creepy. But it instantly becomes better when you realize it's a cute bird, no? I suppose so, Sanae smiled. Aren't you scared to take a walk alone at night? She added. Nah, it's more exciting than doing it during the day. I imagine you've walked past everyone's room. Maybe. I bet the ghost stories we have here all originate from you. Not all. What do you mean? Sanae knitted her eyebrows. I'm hungry. There's yesterday's jelly in the refrigerator. Can I have it? I opened the small fridge by my feet, finding a single plastic package of tangerine jelly on the top shelf. Go ahead. Thanks. I peeled off the seal with the picture of a tangerine on it, took a little wooden spoon from the package, and began eating the orange jelly. It was cool and had the sweet sour taste characteristic of citrus fruits. You want some? If I eat this stuff at night, it will only make my stomach feel all cold. I put a spoonful of jelly in my mouth. Let's put on some music. Are you supposed to be Lily's friend? I don't know who else it would be. Or who else you could be. Maiko won't like it. You think she'd run all the way to your room with complaints? Now that I think about it, we don't have a single TV in this place. Yeah, now that you mention it, not like it's something I'd use. Aren't you worried we might be missing some vital news or something? What kind, for example? I looked at the ceiling and cocked my head, like a giant monster approaching our town or something. Sunny chuckled. What kind of monster? I'm a humanoid 15-meter tall anteater that uses its snout to suck people straight into its belly through the windows of their houses. Is that a Godzilla monster? I don't know my kaijus that well. I made the shadow of an anteater with my fingers in the dim light. Now I'm going to be too afraid to go to sleep. We might be in severe danger if we missed an announcement on TV telling us to keep the lights off and not make a sound. Sane glanced at the window. These kinds of things always just appear in front of the window without warning. Then you've got to run and barricade yourself in the bathroom. Trapping yourself in a confined space in a horror movie is basically suicide. I don't think I've ever seen anyone survive that. The moment the character begins praying, you know they're dead. There was this one movie with worms that traumatized me. That one movie with worms. The one where they travel through pipes? The worms that travel through pipes. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the one. There's another movie where they had a sudden close-up of a freaky alien's face out of nowhere. I almost got a heart attack. Alien? That's the one about the alien that can split into particles and reform, right? Yes, I'm surprised you know that. I used to watch lots of movies. Is there anything else that scared you? T-Rexes. We pretty much said that at the same time. I get why you decided to take shelter in there, but why do you just keep sitting without doing anything? I guess the writers figured it'd be more fun that way? I suppose so. Wait, when did Jurassic Park come out? $1993. Wait, there's no way. They were in high school in 1979. And they said that Sanae said that she's been in the sanatorium for at least 5 years, right? I'm not making that up. Yeah. Is Sanae like fucking 38 or something? Maybe, I guess. But Takako's not that old, right? We know how old Takako is. She's like 28. That doesn't fit. Because even at their youngest, if we assume they were like 15 in the high school scenes, that was in 1979, which means that Jurassic Park would have come out when they were 28? I feel like that doesn't fit. Anyway, I yawned. A whiff of wind blew into the room through the partially open window, and narrowed my eyes to see the moon blur elongate in the distance. I'm planning to go to bed yet? I guess I'm starting to feel pretty sleepy. Though my legs still felt heavy as lead, I mustered enough strength to stand up. Good night. Night. I continued to exit the room with uncertain steps. See you tomorrow, said Sanae as I opened the door. Yeah, see you. Thanks for the jelly. I returned to my room and threw myself onto the white bed. I wrapped the sheets around myself like a cocoon, letting my consciousness slowly melt into the world of dreams. I dreamed of seeing a 15-meter high humanoid anteater by my window that made me panic and lock myself in the bathroom. Oh, it's all green now. I considered falling back asleep when I opened my eyes, but the sun peeking through a gap in my curtains shone right into my face. No amount of twisting on the bed let me escape the brightness through my eyelids, and when I finally gave up and climbed out of bed to close the curtains, I realized that I wasn't that sleepy anymore. I parted the curtains instead. A snow-laden mountain loomed beyond the window. Yeah, there's no carpet. There's the reception thing there. Yeah. Fucking Kozui's blocking the way. I don't think this little orb thing was in here when this was the hotel. Also, there's supposed to be like a bunch of chairs to the right. I spotted Kozui standing in front of the door leading to the inner yard. What's up? I can't leave. Kozui turned the doorknob, but the door didn't budge. What are you doing here? I came to see the snow. Well, too bad, the door doesn't open. I rolled up my sleeves. Just give me a moment with them. Kozui took a step back as I seized the doorknob. Uff! A loud crack reverberated in the room. You've broken it. It's not broken. I have to tell Mariko about this. Hey, wait, don't do that. but through the window I could see a pile of snow that would reach up to my knees right outside the door. Well, right outside the door wasn't particularly accurate as it covered the entire inner yard. Only the big camphor tree still towered high above it all, boasting an elegant white layer of snow on top. I guess I'll try the window. I undid the latch and opened the window, only to be momentarily blinded by the brightness of the snow. Stepping on the windowsill, I jumped outside. My legs sank into the snow below. Whoa, I'm sinking here. I was about to jump back inside, but quickly walked in front of the window before I knew it, blocking my way. Open the door. I need a shovel to clear this much snow away. You have your hands, don't you? Are you kidding me? Look, my legs are already freezing, okay? Mako appeared behind Kozue in the corridor. What are you two doing? We're playing with snow. Good. Mako handed me a shovel through the window. I was looking for you to help me with shoveling the snow. I just so happened to be looking for a shovel too. I stuck the shovel into the snow. Huff. I lifted up a shovel full of snow and placed it into the cart behind me. Kozue appeared as well, pushing the empty cart towards me. She stopped the empty cart next to me, moved the snow-filled one, and pushed it away. I continued to shovel snow until Kozue returned with the next cart. Seeing that my cart was still only partially filled with snow, she rattled her own. Geez, give me a break. I have some business in the library. Go on ahead then, I can shovel the snow by myself. How on earth am I supposed to go? Kozue made an indignant expression. Her legs were shorter than mine by at least one hand's length. I cleared half of the way already. It won't take that long. If you start taking breaks, it'll take until noon. Kozue rattled her cart again. Geez, don't you trust me at all? I trust you about as much as I trust the paper used for goldfish scooping. Have I done anything to you? Oh man, remember the story about the goldfish at the beginning? Oh man, it's all coming back together. Why are you bringing that snow anyway? Over there, where Maiko told me. Maiko appeared on the cleared up road as we talked. I brought you some coffee. Thanks. And some hot milk for you, Kozue. Kozue took a paper cup from Maiko. Where's Sanae? She seems to have woken up with a bit of a fever this morning. She's resting in her room right now. It was freezing this morning. Is she okay? It didn't look like anything serious. I finished my coffee and handed the paper cup back to Maiko. Oh yeah, just listen to this, Maiko. Kozue says she only trusted me as much as the paper used for goldfish scooping. I once caught 5 goldfish with a single one. Okay, so you are Sachiko. Oh, is Takako saying this? Who said this line? I feel like Maiko's sprite changed when this line was said, so I think this was Maiko. I mean, we know at the very beginning we heard the story about the goldfish scooping, right? Wasn't this Sachiko that caught like 5 in single one? Or I might be misremembering, it's been a while. There was actually this one time I almost got 20. 20? That sounds far too fishy. Ha 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 ha. Is it really true? I'm not lying. Anyway, that's not what I was trying to Can you hurry up and shovel the snow already? Kozue egged me on after handing her cup back to Maiko. With 2 cups in hand, Maiko turned around and continued to the entrance. I found some ice on the roof, so I'll go and try to shatter it for now. Let's take a bath together after we finish with the snow. Sounds great. As I resumed work, I suddenly realized something and turned to Kozue. You can use the connecting corridor to go to the library, right? Borrowing the keys is too much of a pain. Seriously? So there is a connecting corridor to the library here. Okay. I feel like there wasn't a connecting corridor in the hotel. The door's hinges squeaked as I closed it behind me upon entering the silent lobby. I could hear the rustling of trees and the chirping of birds from the outside. The light filtering into the stained glass above the door lit up the floor. I continued forward, glancing at the astronomical trinket on the counter. This is the astronomical trinket? Planet imitations were slowly spinning in the barely perceptible breeze. The contraption suddenly let out a high-pitched bell-like sound. I heard a sound of footsteps, and then Maiko appeared from the stairs leading to the underground bath. Have you finished? Where should I leave this? I held up the shovel in front of her. I took it from the storage room on the 2nd floor. As with the cart, you can leave it in the inner yard. The cart is right by the exit now. I see, alright. I'll go return your shovel to its place. Where's Kozue? Asked Maiko as I was about to climb the staircase. She went to borrow some books from the library. Some book from the library. I don't think she'll take too long. I'm done preparing the bath, so find a change of clothes and come back. Okay. I ascended the stairs with a shovel in hand. From behind, I could hear Maiko walking to the door. The storage room was located in an extra area between the stairs and the first room on the second floor. Its narrow confines held a large painting in a fancy frame that no one could figure out where to hang. A sofa with a missing leg, an aquarium for tropical fish, and all sorts of otherwise completely unrelated bits and bobs. In the dark room illuminated by a single source of light, I found a stand similar to the ones used for umbrellas. I promptly stuck the shovel into it. So long, partner, till we meet again. I turned off the light and started down the way I came from, but paused in the middle of the corridor. On my right was Kozer's old room. Oh no, not again. I placed my hand on the doorknob and slowly pushed the door open. There was only a bed, an empty cabinet, and a closed window inside. It hadn't changed at all since I'd last seen it. I could see the sky above the port town through the window. The light through the window illuminated the room, unconcerned that its master was gone. I stepped inside and heard the floor creak underneath me. I closed my eyes, but couldn't sense the hard rock floor under my feet. The cold wind blowing to the walls of the narrow cave walls, the low humming that strangled my chest, or even the smell of wet soil and moss. The bat's ready. A sudden voice from behind left me startled. I turned around to see Michael with a puzzled expression on her face. What are you doing in a place like this? Nothing. Ah, Michael let out a sigh. Let's go take that bath. I passed by Michael. She followed behind me. Oh my god. Phew. I submerged myself in the hot water, resting my head on the edge of the tub. I forgot about the weird detail about like the extra space in the ceiling here where there's the light. I think they mentioned that. I could hear the sounds of Michael washing her hair. I grasped a pumpkin toy floating in the tub, submerged it in the water, then let go, watching the ripples it created as it shot up. Because they were regarding me in silence. Once I began feeling warmer, I climbed out of the bath and sat on its edge. As I counted the numbers of pong cans floating in the tub, Michael finished washing her hair and placed her basket on the ground with the tub. I could hear her wet footsteps as she walked towards the bath. The round yellow pumpkin sluggishly swayed in the calm water. Michael submerged herself up to her shoulders and shifted her gaze to me. It was getting too hot. I slid down from the hedge, leaving the cool air for the hot water. My skin warmed up instantly. I could feel the heat traveling through my neck to my head. If you cool yourself off at proper intervals, every time you return to the bath, it will feel as good as your first time, and you never get too hot either. Oh my god! I feel like every Takako chapter is like this. We just get so much of these scenes. Like, oh man, really? I closed my eyes and my cheeks warmed up. You warm yourself in the bath and you cool down sitting on the edge. Rinse and repeat. You manage the temperature of the outer layer of your skin, heating and cooling it as though you were making a millefeuille out of yourself. It's the elegant way of enjoying a bath. Shut up! You're going to catch a cold like that. I don't think you need to worry about that, said Kozo as she stood up. Yeah, Kozo knows this is the healthy way to enjoy a bath. Wait a second, I know what you did there, Kozo, I exclaimed, raising my fists. Wahahaha, are you leaving already? Kozo nodded at Michael's question and left the room. I spent a few moments gazing at the white vapor-covered windows when a cold drop of water fell on my forehead. You're going to get your hair wet. Michael came over to me and tucked some loose locks of hair peeking out from beneath my towel back under it. Your face is red like a boiling octopus. I may have spent too much time in the water. I think it's about time you got out then. Are you not washing your hair? Would you like me to wash your back? Yeah, of course. I guess you're washing your hair like not in the... You're washing your hair here, not here. Think of it as my thanks for shoveling the snow. Ah, I guess hard work does pay off from time to time. I got out of the bathtub, splashing hot water all around me, and sat down on the closest wooden stool by the shower. Michael brought a stool of her own, sitting down on it behind me. Ooh. Did this not already happen? Did we not already have a scene of Michael washing her back, or am I making that up? I like it. Oh no, was that Sanae washing Sachiko's back? I don't know, man. It's all blending together. I like it a little rough. I know you do. Understood. Michael covered the washcloth in soap and pressed it against my back. She took a hold of my shoulder with her other hand. Look, I know it should be rough, but I don't want it to hurt, okay? I'm just kidding. She began slowly brushing my back up and down with just the right amount of strength. Does it hurt? No, it's just right. It feels good. I see. I exhaled a breath, raised my knees, and rested my chin on them. Are you tired? No, it's not like that. Snow never piled up this much back where I'm from, so if anything, shoveling it was a nice new experience for me. Something no one has ever said in their life ever. Shoveling snow is like the most miserable thing ever. I live in Canada. When I had to fucking, oh my god, shoveling snow at fucking 5 a.m. to get to work. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Oh my god. It's actually fucking miserable. Winter fucking sucks, man. I always say this, but the only people who like winter are people who live in like Florida or something. If you live in the country where it actually snows like hard, winter is fucking miserable, dude. I've never seen so much snow here in the past, to be honest. I guess I won't have many more chances like that, huh? Yes, unfortunately. I see. Well, not like I'm the one concerned. Malco's hand paused as he considered my words for a moment. Do you have any itchy spots? You sound like a barber. What will you do if I say I do? I let out a laugh. Don't blame me if you won't be able to sleep on your back tonight. Have you ever said you had an itchy spot at a barber's? No, I have. Malco let out a gasp of surprise. You actually had them scratch your head? Yeah, but then the rest of the experience didn't go too well. They totally rushed the dryer part afterwards. I think they thought of me as an annoying customer and wanted to get it over with as soon as possible. I always thought it was more like a figure of speech than an actual proposal, but it feels good. I wanted them to do it again. Well, I suppose I can see what you mean. It feels good when another person scratches you, for real. How does your back feel? Real nice. I wish we could continue this for hours. I see. After that, Maiko also washed my arms and shoulders. You're being awfully nice today, Maiko. I've been nice since before I was born. I couldn't help but chuckle. Really? Oh, didn't you know? Half of me is made of pure, undiluted kindness. Never heard of that one before. How did you find out? I got a blood test here. You can tell that from blood? Leukocytes, erythrocytes, hemoglobins, proteins, and kindness. And in your case, kindness takes up half of the whole. Isn't this like word for word a Monogatari bit in episode 1 when Senjogara makes like the joke about how she's made of like 80% like bitterness or whatever? This is like a 1-to-1 bit. Yes. What's the average for a person? Unfortunately, I'm quite far above the average. I guess I'm lucky to have a nurse like you then. We both chuckled. Our laughs reverberated across the bathroom walls. Cold air enveloped my body as I opened the door to the dressing room. I glanced at the weight scales by the door. I passed by them, took the basket with my change of clothes from the shelf, wrapped myself in the towel, and put on my underwear. As I slid into my shirt and turned around, I saw Maiko putting on her socks after wiping herself with a towel. Do you always start from the socks? Yes. That looks pretty indecent. Maiko promptly put on her underwear and shirt. I always feel like heat escapes my body through my feet. Really? And honestly, I felt the way you think is far more indecent. Really? Really, really? Really, really? Really, really? Should I keep going? Sure, let me keep going. I think it's time. Sunny sat up in bed and took the thermometer out of her mouth. You still seem to have a high fever. Sunny, her cheeks flushed, regarded me with an empty gaze. I want to read a book. No way, you need to get some sleep. Oh my god, just let her live. Sunny gave me an indignant look through her half-open eyes. You really like books, don't you? Why is that? You mean what I like about books? I nodded. I like a lot of things. I don't know if I can sum it up. Well, what's good about the current book you're reading then? It's an old book. It's old, okay? Which means it's full of things I don't know, like descriptions of lands I've never seen before. But I enjoy that kind of lack of knowledge, as my imagination always fills in the blanks. It's the opposite of Sanae, who did not like old books. If I die, burn me with the books on the shelf. There are still some I haven't read yet, she added. I can do that if you want, but you won't be able to read them if I burn them. Well, she'll be dead, so it's okay. You think I could read books after my death? I have no idea what happens after death. You don't believe in heaven and hell, right? I might not look it, but I'm actually scientifically minded. I don't believe you'll be able to continue constructing thoughts after your brain dies. It's fun to think about the afterlife, but none of the potential ideas make much sense from where I stand. I put the thermometer away and soaked the towel I prepared in a bowl of ice water. I always start thinking about these things when I don't feel well. My health isn't exactly in tip-top shape, she added. Aren't you scared, Takako? Not really. As I said, it'd be funny if there was an afterlife, but if it all works like I expect it to work, you won't even be able to feel fear, so what does it matter? I mean, it depends how you die. I'm pretty sure some people would find the idea of not existing scary in itself. What's the point of doing your best in life if you're going to disappear anyway? Have you never thought of it like that? Well, you leave all sorts of things behind, I mean. Besides, the fact that I might disappear one day doesn't change the fact that I exist here and now. Do you? I took the towel out of the bowl and wrung it so as to not splash the water all over the room. One time, when we were gazing at the stars together, Sachiko said that their light was hundreds and hundreds of years old. In other words, hundreds of years will pass before we are seen from over there. Nothing that ever existed can disappear completely. I see, and I agree. You should sleep. I'm sure you'll be fine by tomorrow. What time is it? It's around 9, I think. Well, there's also the idea that you might become a ghost. That just might be the most fun option. If I turn into one tonight, I'll come to your room to relax. I'll forget to make some kind of signal so I know it's you. In that case, I'll pick up coins like that ghost in town. Alright, I'm sure to leave some on the table. Guess I can rest easy then. Good night. Yeah, good night. I put the cold towel on Sonya's head as she finally lay down. Sonya let out a relieved breath and slowly closed her eyes. Why are you back here? I opened my eyes to realize I was laying on a bed. As I sat up, a sudden and sharp pain ran through the core of my skull. With its empty shells, a bed covering in blinding white sheets, and a window that opened to the vast sky above the port town, the room felt as lifeless as ever. The sky that was orange before I closed my eyes that turned dark blue. I rubbed my left arm that had nearly frozen when I slept with no sheet on me. When I stood up, the pain in my skull returned. Eventually, I staggered out of Kozue's room with uncertain steps. Ugh, I think I was going somewhere. I turned to right and began descending the spiral staircase. The lights started blinking as I continued down towards the lobby. I changed them just the other day. I took one step after the other while leaning against the wall with my right arm. I passed by a few small pictures on the wall to reach the blinking light. It didn't seem like it had dimmed, at least. As I looked away, my vision suddenly grew completely dark. Oh, back in the cave. I could feel myself stepping on a hard, wet surface. I was back in the dark limestone cave. The wall I'd been touching had turned into rock before I knew it. I inhaled a lungful of cold, humid air to calm myself down. I slowly closed my eyes and opened them again. I was back on the spiral staircase. The light I changed the other day, and the familiar picture of a lake hung right next to me on the wall. A familiar lake. I leaned against the wall with my back and stared at the light for a few moments when I saw Maiko descending the stairs above me. Yeah, I caught her hand before she tumbled down the stairs. What are you doing there? Maiko asked, pressing her hand against her chest. I thought there was something wrong with the light over here again, but it seemed like it was just my imagination. I see. Maiko straightened herself, so I let go of her hand. It's almost lights out time. Is it already that late? Well, I'll check the clock in the lobby if you don't believe me. I shook my head. In that case, good night. Maiko passed by me. Maiko turned around to face me as I addressed her. Can I sleep with you tonight? Sure, why not? I gulped down the remainder of my cold tea and put the empty cup on a tray. I want to lay down the food now, so I'd appreciate it if you got out of the way. I stood up and continued to the kitchen with tray in hand. Meanwhile, Maiko folded the table and prepared 2 futons behind me. After I lay down on the freshly laid futon, Maiko tossed the sheet on me. I'm turning off the lights. Okay. Sure you won't need to go to the toilet? How old do you think I am? I partially peeked out from under the sheet to glare at her. Maiko made a low chuckle. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm turning off the lights. Okay. The room momentarily turned orange and was swallowed by darkness as she pulled the cord. The night duty room's futons were kept in the closet, so they had different smell compared to my bed. My brain had irrevocably connected that smell to Maiko by now. I yawned and considered the cord dangling from the ceiling. It looked like it was swaying, but when I looked at it in relation to the ceiling, I understood that wasn't the case. I had a lot in my mind, so I didn't feel sleepy at all. Are you sleeping? I asked in a barely audible voice. I'm not. Maiko gave in after a long pause. What would you do if I disappeared? I rolled over to face her. Are you planning to leave? She asked, slightly raising her upper body. No, I'm speaking hypothetically, as in you found my room empty once you went looking for me in the morning, and I wasn't anywhere else in the sanatorium. What would you do then? With no words from you? With no word from me, yes. I look for you. I contact the police and we'd scour the mountains, I suppose, and you get a piece of my mind once we found you. I see. Why ask me something like that, though? I just felt like it. Okay. Maiko let out a sigh. Okay, well, no more of these questions, please. They're only going to make me depressed. Okay. I'll make sure to leave a message if I go anywhere. Please do. At times, however, you cannot be the master of your own fate. Are you sure you can make that promise so easily? Okay, that's an ominous thing to say. Well, fine. I'll do it as long as it's within my power. Thank you. As long as the ghosts don't get me. But I'm not sure if I'll be strong enough. Would you please make up your mind? It's like you said, sometimes you just don't have a choice. I suppose so. I rolled on my back and closed my eyes. The light clouds beyond the window looked like smoke in the moonlight. I remember staying over at my grandma's this one time. My grandparents and I all slept together in the same room. I rubbed my eyes in the middle of the night and got an eyelash stuck in it. I had to use the mirror above my head to try and get it out. Outside Michael, I saw her looking at me through drowsy, half-open eyes. It was the kind of mirror you could turn at various angles, but it was set up to face a closet for some reason. Anyway, I turned it towards myself, and then my grandma woke up and got really angry at me for doing that. Why was she angry? I don't know. You didn't ask? I was too scared to. I see. Why do you think? Was that a scary story? I wouldn't say it was particularly scary. Really? It's true though. Look, I got goosebumps just from remembering it. Your grandma? Maybe you have to have been there to understand. Didn't you think that there might be something weird reflected in that mirror, or that it led to some other dimension and you wouldn't be able to return? That's a popular story about mirrors, yes. Hey, don't just brush it off like that. The whole thing traumatized me for life. What are you talking about? Your grandma yelling at you traumatized you for life? I'm not sure I can help you with that one. Grandfather clock in the lobby struck the hour. It stopped after 11 beats. It's late. We should go to sleep. Good night. Good night. I stole a glance at Michael's face before closing my eyes. I then continued thinking about things in the darkness of my closed eyelids. It was a bad habit that would occasionally interfere with my sleep schedule. I wriggled out of my futon and got to Michael's. What are you doing? I got too scared to sleep. Is that so? Michael let out a sigh. Oh, cool. More fucking travel flashbacks. Incredible. Okay. Man, I feel like the story was kind of like picking up in in Sachiko's side, and then the chapter ended and we came back to Takako, and now it's just been like random like slice of life bullshit. Like the scene with them picking up snow and then taking a bath, and then I don't know, man. I'm not sure exactly, like, I'm not sure how Sachiko's mind works, because did she really imagine Narasaki taking a train and arriving at the station and imagine a phone call from Narasaki? That seems incredibly detailed, but maybe? I mean, it is clear that Narasaki doesn't exist, obviously. Unless, what would really throw me for a loop is if Sachiko asked Lily and Lily was like, oh yeah, Narasaki, I know her. If that happened, that would really throw me for a loop, but it seems pretty clear that Narasaki isn't real. I mean, I guess I'll just say I still have the same question as I did at the end of last episode. I don't think there was answers. There was many answers in this episode. So yeah, hopefully we get more answers next time. But yeah, I'm gonna stop here. Alright, see you next time.